One of the most intriguing aspects of space is the parallel universe theory. It is so fascinating because it can be scary at some point. Imagine a copy of yourself existing in some universe where time moves backward. While some people dismiss the theory of parallel universes as fiction, NASA scientists are hard at work on it. Their research has yielded results as they just announced the discovery of a new parallel universe. What is a parallel universe and how did NASA discover it? Stay tuned as we bring you how NASA scientists recently announced the scary discovery of a new parallel universe. Are we alone in the universe? Bill Watterson has the answer. He said, "Sometimes I think the surest sign that intelligent life exists elsewhere in the universe is that none of it has tried to contact us." Of course, that is a sarcastic, witty retort based on human behavior more than on cosmic truth. But in all seriousness, the question has bothered humans for as long as we've been conscious. According to Michael J. Crow, who wrote the book The Extraterrestrial Life Debate 1750 to 1900, the philosopher Aristotle weighed in the 4th century BCE, saying a so-called plurality of worlds could not exist because every solar system required a prime mover to keep it going, and could not imagine an infinite number of those. Around the same time, Epicurus wrote a remarkably modern rejoinder to the Aristotelian opinion. He suggested that atoms were infinite in number and argued that there are infinite worlds both like and unlike ours. Epicurus asserted that some of these worlds would sustain life similar to Earth. While these two ancient figures were firmly on opposite sides of the debate, they had one thing in common, or rather, lacked one thing in common. They had absolutely no observational data on which to base their opinions, meaning that the controversy surrounding the possibility of extraterrestrial life raged on through the Middle Ages and Renaissance up to our own time. For example, Cornell professor Carl Sagan, whose public television series Cosmos brought the concepts of astronomy to a broad audience, advanced a principle of mediocrity that echoed the writings of Epicurus. He said there was nothing special about our solar system or plane. There are billions and billions of stars in the universe, with many planets capable of sustaining life and intelligence. Cosmologists John D. Barrow and Frank J. Tipler countered with the anthropic cosmological principle, arguing that even with a universe full of planets, generating life on one is difficult, and it is a big leap from single-celled organisms to large-brained mammals who can debate cosmology. Therefore, we should reserve judgment as to whether we are alone or only one overachieving species among many. You know, Aristotle and Epicurus would be pleased to discover the argument they started continues 2,000 years after their deaths. However, scientists believe we are tantalizingly close to discovering if there are intelligent neighbors in the universe and how close they are to us. One of the theories that seek to answer this question is the parallel universe theory. This theory is also known as the multiverse theory. The multiverse is a theory in which our universe is not the only one, but states that many universes exist parallel to each other. These distinct universes within the multiverse theory are called parallel universes. A variety of different theories lend themselves to a multiverse viewpoint. However, there are several levels to this theory. Level 1 says, if you go far enough, you'll get back home. The idea that space is so big that the rules of probability imply that surely somewhere else out there are other planets exactly like Earth. In fact, an infinite universe would have infinitely many planets, and on some of them, the events that play out would be virtually identical to those on our own Earth. We don't see these other universes because the speed of light limits our cosmic vision. Light started traveling at the moment of the Big Bang about 14 billion years ago, so we can't see any further than about 14 billion light years. This volume of space is called the Hubble volume and represents our observable universe. Level 2 is even more insane. It states that if you wander far enough, you'll fall into some wonderland. This postulates that regions of space are continuing to undergo an inflation phase. Because of the continuing inflationary phase in these universes, space between us and the other universes is expanding faster than the speed of light, and they are completely unreachable. Two possible theories are usually presented to support Level 2 parallel universes: eternal inflation and ekpyrotic theory. In eternal inflation, recall that the quantum fluctuations in the early universe's vacuum energy caused bubble universes to be created all over the place, expanding through their inflation stages at different rates. The initial condition of these universes is assumed to be at a maximum energy level. However, at least one variant, chaotic inflation, predicts that the initial condition can be chaotically chosen as any energy level, which may have no maximum, and the results will be the same. The findings of eternal inflation mean that when inflation starts, it produces not just one universe, but also an infinite number of universes. Right now, the only non-inflationary model that carries any weight is the ekpyrotic model, which is so new that it's still highly speculative. In the ekpyrotic theory picture, if the universe is the region that results when two brains collide, then the brains could crash in multiple locations. In Level 3 parallel universe theory, you'll run into yourself if you stay where you are. A Level 3 parallel universe is a consequence of the many worlds interpretation from quantum physics, in which every single quantum possibility inherent in the quantum wave function becomes a real possibility in some reality. When the average person, especially a science fiction fan, thinks of a parallel universe, he's probably thinking of Level 3 parallel universes. Level 3 parallel universes are different from others posed because, incredibly, they take place in the same space and time as our own universe, but of course, you are shut out of them. You have never had and will never have contact with any Level 1 or Level 2 universe, but you're continually in contact with Level 3 universes. Every moment of your life, every decision you make is causing a split of your now self into an infinite number of future selves, all of which are unaware of each other. Creepy, isn't it? Not until you hear about Level 4, entirely based on mathematical formulae. It is the most controversial because it would follow fundamentally different mathematical laws of nature than even our universe. In short, any universe that physicists can get to work out on paper would exist, based on the mathematical democracy principle. Any universe that is mathematically possible has an equal possibility of actually existing. Now, you can be sure that if any cosmos theory comes up today, NASA will start investigating tomorrow. So it is not even surprising that NASA has dedicated resources to research parallel universes, and the results are fascinating. The quest for the parallel universe where time runs backward took NASA not into deep space, but the Antarctic, one of the coldest locations on the planet. The project was called ANITA for short, but it means Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, and it was run in conjunction with multiple partners, including the University of Hawaii. ANITA is a stratospheric balloon-based experiment with radio antennae pointed back at Earth to detect radio waves emitted by very rare high-energy neutrinos if they strike an atom in the ice. A radio telescope, ANITA is the first NASA observatory for neutrinos of any kind. Neutrinos are of great interest to astrophysicists as they are the only particle that can reach Earth unattenuated at all energies. This is particularly of interest at high energies where other particles and photons will interact with the microwave background photons, making them unable to propagate and survive over long astrophysical distances. In other words, if you want to see the ultra-high energy universe, you should view it through the light of neutrinos. The ANITA instrument detects these ultra-high energy neutrinos using the Askaryan effect. This effect predicts the production of coherent radio emissions from a cascade of particles produced in a high-energy particle interaction. In other words, ANITA detects a snap in the radio frequencies caused by the interaction of our ultra-high energy neutrino. To detect this radio emission, Askaryan pulses, scientists need a radio-transparent medium for the interaction to occur in, and lots of it since these interactions are rare. Some materials that are radio-transparent are salt, sand, and ice. A fairly radio-quiet area is also required as the Askaryan pulses are very faint signals. ANITA did detect a high-energy neutrino coming out from the Antarctic ice, and the results have led to a discussion among physicists. Some claim the neutrinos come from a parallel world or universe where time runs backward. However, other scientists caution that there are other explanations for the neutrinos detected by ANITA and caution about jumping to conclusions about the existence of a parallel universe. Of course, Scientists have to argue about everything, but we are excited that humans are as close as possible to detecting whether there are other intelligent life forms inhabiting parallel universes. Let's hear what you think of parallel universes in the comments section below.